Mr. Olmedo here, back again with another super cool tutorial inside of Motion. Okay, let's take a look at what we're going to accomplish this time around. Okay, let me go ahead and just deselect everything so you guys can kind of see. Okay, here we go. So it's just a 3D wall. Okay, looks pretty cool. We have some floating text, nice little ambient feel, a little darker, little more mysterious kind of feel, and just that hovering text. Okay, overall looks really dynamic, really cool, and I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this one. Okay, so let's take a look at how we accomplish this. Okay, first and foremost, I grabbed this from a company called Pixel Core, so kudos to them for putting this out there. They have an incredible amount of resources on their website. So in your spare time, if you really want to take your Final Cut Studio or just your editing skills to the next level, okay, highly recommend it. Okay, super cool stuff from these guys. Okay, first off, texture. Okay, the texture is what really makes this website, and by texture I mean this wall. Okay, this wall is the exact same wall, just duplicated 5 times and then arranged in this manner. Once you understand the super advanced tool set inside of Motion and how you can work with its 3D layers, you'll get fancy art elements just like this. Okay, so let's look at where we got that texture from and how you can get some textures like similar to that in the future. Okay, cgtextures.com. Okay, bookmark that, write it down, keep that in your arsenal, particularly if you're going to be going into digital media. Okay, this is an amazing website with amazing textures, and you can see here on the left that it has just an insane amount of textures you can look through. Okay, plastics, roads, I mean, you name it, they have it. Okay, super cool. A lot of them are free. Okay, this stuff looks really cool inside of Motion, particularly when you blend it. Okay, using your blending modes, the multiply, the difference, and all that. So we're actually going to use some of those blending modes in this tutorial. I simply went over to Brick. I'm not sure where I grabbed the one that I did, but I grabbed it in here somewhere. And I just found one that I thought was pretty cool. Okay, it was kind of grungy, felt kind of, you know, a little more modern, and looked cool. Okay, so I just grabbed it, I downloaded it. The one thing I do say about this website is they do have a lot of cool tutorials, but they are a membership website. So they do have, for one, they have free accounts, but two is, oh, I'm logged in right now. Let me go ahead and log out so I can see what you guys are going to be seeing. Okay, there's a free account. Okay, there you go. You're able to download 15 megabytes a week. Okay, and if you continue to build your library, okay, that should be plenty. If you want to download super high resolution files and you want to continually download them throughout the week, then you're going to have to pay some of these membership fees. Okay, that's up to you if you want to do that. If you're going to go into 3D, if you're going to be using advanced 3D applications program like Maya, like 3D Studio Max, like Blender, okay, this is probably something that you're going to want to get. Okay, amazing resource. At any rate, so I went on here, grabbed the texture, and this is what it looks like. Okay, this guy right here. Okay, Brick Large Dirty 0007 1M. Okay, looks cool. Now, what you're going to want to do is, this is going to be in your training folder. Go ahead and right click this file, open with, and choose Photoshop. Okay, I'm actually testing CS4 right now, and we may actually upgrade our labs. We're on Photoshop CS3, works just the same. Okay, you'll be able to follow the steps just as easily as I do. Okay, so open your file in Photoshop. Again, your interface inside of Photoshop might look a little bit different, but okay, don't be alarmed. It will do exactly what I'll be asking you to do. Okay, so we have our texture. And by the way, if you plan on going into digital media, okay, the #1 tool that you will not live without and you will not go without using every single day is Photoshop. Okay, if you haven't taken our Photoshop class here, take it. Okay, it is an amazing course. It will teach you some of the most fundamental aspects of design that you will learn and you will take with you in whatever you do in life, particularly if you go into digital media. So Photoshop is huge, okay, and you use it in every form of digital media. So keep that in mind, okay? And I will show you some of the, some little cool. I mainly use keyboard shortcuts because Photoshop is keyboard shortcut heavy, and it speeds up your workflow just that much more. But I will also show you the menus and where you can actually find these in the top menus, okay, as we do this, okay? Now, what you'll notice is, why are we taking this into Photoshop, okay? I mean, it looks pretty good like this. None of these were actually taken into Photoshop, but you're going to see a big, huge difference. The little trick I add inside of Photoshop that's going to help make this look even more believable, okay? If you notice, on these corners, okay, where the mouse cursor is, when two surfaces meet, okay, just because of the light refracting, those edges get darker, okay? And when those two surfaces meet, we call that ambient occlusion, when the light goes from light all the way to dark and just pure black at the intersecting point, okay? Now, we're going to make this, it looks okay here, but we're going to make it a lot stronger inside of Photoshop, and it's really easy to do, okay? First thing I want you to do is hit M on your keyboard. It's going to bring up this marquee tool, so just go ahead, if you don't hit M, just click on this first one, hold down, and click the rectangular marquee tool. We're going to change our feathering up here. Yours might be to default to 0. Change this to 30. Okay, that's going to give us a soft edge. Instead of me creating let me just show you quickly. Instead of me creating if I'm at 0 and I create a box and I fill in that box, okay, that's going to leave me with very, very sharp edges, okay? That's not what we want. We want all the surrounding edges to be softened, and we do that with our filter, okay? So let me bring up my window history here, and let me go back to 1, okay, where you're at, and I'm going to change this to 30 pixels. I'm going to drag up at the top left corner, okay? I don't want to be outside of the line either, okay? I just want to be here at this little corner here, maybe, half an inch inside the corner. I'm going to drag all the way from that top left to the exact same point on the bottom right, okay? Now, you'll notice that my actual selection now is not sharp, it's rounded at these edges, and you'll see it's going to give us a nice little fall off from the black. So go ahead and we need to invert the section, because look what happens now. If I hit Option and delete, the delete key, it fills in the middle. That's not what I want. I want exactly the opposite of that, okay? And how we can do that is simple. Let me undo this. I'm going to, instead of having this selection here, the selection looks good, it just needs to be inverted. So 2 ways to do that. One is up that select menu and inverse, or if you notice the little keyboard shortcut, it's Shift Command I. So that's what I'm going to do. Shift Command I. Okay, and now you'll notice that it actually selecting this outer region. Okay, now if we hit Option Delete, okay, it adds our little vignette around it. We get our ambient occlusion, looks great. Okay, I'm going to hit Command D just to deselect everything, and that looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, now you can go ahead and just save this. I'm going to actually save this as a different file. Okay, I'm just going to put vignette here for me. Okay, just so I know which one is mine. And I'm going to save this at the highest quality. Okay, you just go ahead and hit File, Save on yours, and we're going to be importing that ourselves. Okay, so we are done with Photoshop for the time being. Just leave it open. Okay, now if Motion is not already open, okay, go ahead and Command Shift, type in Motion, launch it. Okay, quick way to switch between programs is Command Tab. Okay, and I'm holding down Command, and now I'm just tabbing through all my open programs right now. Okay, so I can go between Motion and Photoshop just like that. Okay, there's no need for you to be minimizing this stuff. Okay, there's really no need for any of that. That just wastes time. Okay, Command Tab. Okay, get you through this. Okay, inside of Motion, okay, we're gonna go up to File. We're gonna create a brand new 720p sequence. Okay, we're gonna hit OK, and it's looking good. Let me go ahead and just hit Command 4, Command 7 to bring up what I need. I'm gonna go ahead and fit this to window. Okay, again, I want a smaller resolution than you are, so don't worry about these little changes that I'm making. But the Command 4, Command 7 you can bring up. And it's a good habit to always be fitting this to window so you can see your entire viewer on screen. You see the entire footage. Now, I'm going to go over to File Browser. Okay, you're going to navigate down here over to your Wall 03 folder, or whatever I named it for your training. Okay, wherever your file is at. You're going to grab this file. Okay, make sure you have the little vignette around this. Okay, and this is crucial. Do not drag and drop this over here. Okay, because why? Because it's not going to be perfectly centered. Okay, that's not what we want. What you want is to select it, and you're going to hit this import button up at the top. Okay, and now you notice that this image is now perfectly centered. Obviously, it's way bigger than we need. Okay, so we're going to go over and create a camera. I'm going to switch this to 3D. And this is my HUD. Okay, this stands for heads-up display, and it's very useful to get very quick access to some of the more common features. Not all, but some of the more common features found in your inspector. So we're in the 3D camera now. I'm going to go ahead and click on this little dolly. Okay, and I'm going to just dolly out a little bit. Okay, just like that. Okay, just so it's in frame. All right. Now, our image here is 1600 by 1000. So what I want to do is I want to select my image. Okay, I'm gonna need 5 total copies of this. So I'm gonna again select the image and hit Command D 4 times. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's my 4th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have exactly 5 copies of this. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna select the first one. I'm gonna select the bottom one. Okay, so that selects all of these. We're gonna go over to Inspector, and we're gonna click on our. Let me just close out the HUD for a second. We're gonna go over to our transformation, and we're gonna go over to our anchor point. Okay, and we're gonna move this little anchor point. Okay, because my image is exactly 1600 by 1000. Okay, this number right here, the second number, is our height. Okay, and our height, we need to cut that in exactly half. So when I go back over here, I'm going to take this to -500. Okay, and it's going to move our little anchor point, our little arrows here, back 500 units. Okay, pixels, and that's going to be exactly the center point, and you're going to see why in a second. So let me just dolly out of this again for a second, and you'll rotate it around. Okay, perfect. Okay, now you notice that we have 5 individual layers stacked into here, and those layers are just stacked on each other, so you can't see anything going on there. Okay, but once we start rotating these, you know that they're all going to be rotating around this anchor point, and it's going to be very, very easy for us to create that box now. Okay, so let's go ahead and just click on our first guy over here. Okay, and let me just pan over a little bit over here so we can see our box a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to click on my first guy here. I'm going to click on this little circle above the green arrow, and that's the rotate tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit shift before I start rotating, and now click and drag, and you'll notice that it locks it to 45 degrees. So I'm just going to go over. Let me go over here to one full opposite wall. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to select the next one down. Okay, I'm going to do the same, and this is going to be now our roof. Okay, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to select the third one. Okay, this is now going to become our, you guessed it, our floor. Okay, and our fourth one, I'm going to grab the actual green rotation tool, and I'm going to push it over to the front. Okay, few problems though. Okay, and you're already noticing this, that I'm going to change my camera here to the top so we can see it from our top view. I'm going to just pan over here. Okay, and you'll notice that this wall is not perfectly aligned. Okay, which is fine. So I'm just gonna grab this yellow, make sure this blue arrow turns yellow. It's gonna lock it to the x-axis, and then you can push that back a little bit. Okay, just about there. Okay, let me zoom into this a little bit more so I can eyeball this a little better. Okay, so we're gonna go just about there. Okay, also other problem is you'll notice that it's way too long. Okay, so we're gonna go over to our position, and we're gonna lock this to the Z. No, sorry, the scale. The position we want to remain the scale. Our Z, we're just going to, I'm going to click and drag in this 100%, and let me make sure, okay, that's not what I want. Is it X? Okay, it's X. Okay, so you may, depending on how you imported the images, you may have to move one of either X or Z. So in my case, it's X. So just slide these over to see which one is actually moving your wall up and down. Okay, so just move it up and down about there. Okay, looks beautiful. I'm gonna go back over to my active camera. It's gonna zoom all the way back inside. Okay, and I'm going to just rotate around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna actually zoom into this, pan it, and remember you have this entire window to fill, so you want to get the camera kind of inside. Okay, just like so. Okay, and we still have an issue here, so I'm gonna grab this little edge over here and I'm gonna push it this way. Okay, and I'm gonna grab this edge and I'm gonna push it this way. Okay, so now we have a good looking wall, and then this one might have to come in a little bit, just like so, and then this one might have to come in a little bit, just like so. Okay, don't worry if it's not perfect, because our light's gonna help close a lot of that gap in between those. Okay, so now I'm just gonna frame this up to a nice little spot inside. Okay, and this is our actual render, our full render. Okay, now you'll notice, okay, the wall doesn't seem too deep, okay, if at all. Okay, so cool little camera trick. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and select our camera. I'm gonna go over to my camera properties, and this angle of view, okay, those who have taken photography know that it's an amazing feature and element of photography, okay, specifically photographic composition. But what you're going to notice here is the wider I make my angle of view, the deeper this seems. Okay, so this is super close, okay, and super wide, and then we're just narrowing it out. Okay, to there. So just find a happy little medium. I know that's trippy, but just find, I'm gonna say just about, and obviously it gets way too distorted and just goes off the page. But okay, this can also be keyframed, obviously. But so we're just going to, I'm gonna find a little spot about there. Looks good. Okay, let's do actually 110. We'll do 110 exactly. You can do whatever, whatever is to your liking. I'm not really concerned about that, but just make sure you're over 75 degrees. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and record. Okay, I'm gonna push dolly in just a little bit. Okay, so I set my first keyframe, and I'm gonna go all the way to the very end. Actually, not the very end. Let's do about 240. Okay, I'm gonna set this to 240. And I'm gonna dolly in, and I'm gonna dolly in all the way to about there, and I'm just gonna move this over a little bit, rotate this over just a little bit. Okay, and you notice because we are recording, we've set 2 keyframes, and now we have our really cool little dolly in. Okay, looks cool, it's coming in, and looks good. Okay, super cool so far. Turn off your recording. Okay, I always forget to do this. You probably forget to do it. Okay, just get in the habit of turning your recording on and off. Now, what's next? We can add now this looks okay. It's not bad. We can go ahead and, if we really wanted to, we can go ahead and add our text, right? But we really want to make this a little more dynamic. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the home button to take me back to the front of my timeline. I'm gonna go over to I'm going to select my camera. I'm going to go over to properties, and I'm going to right click position, and I'm going to add a little bit of a wriggle to my camera. So now you'll see that it added a wriggle behavior. If I hit play now, it's just kind of all over the place, okay? Which is, if you like that, that's cool. But that's a little too much, a little too distracting for me. So again, I'm gonna hit home to go to the front. I'm gonna bring up my HUD display. I'm gonna make sure my wriggle is selected. And again, your HUD display is gonna show you some of the basic attributes that you can adjust. Okay, so I'm going to take down my amount quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to play that back, see what it looks like. Okay, still looks, that's actually not bad. I just took down the, okay, that's actually not bad. Let me take down the noise a little bit. And this is, again, to your liking. Whatever you want to adjust here, totally up to you. Okay, so I'm going to take down my noise a little bit and maybe bring up my, I'm just hitting home to go back and forth between these. And then frequency we might want to bring down a little bit, so that's a much smoother. I kind of like that. I'm not sure why it's heading backwards in the first place, but you know, for the most part that looks pretty cool. And then let me increase the noise a little bit. Whoa, way too much. Okay, so let's just take this down. No, so the noise is what's giving it that little jittery effect. So I'm gonna just go home and okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm also gonna go back to properties, and I'm also gonna add that same wriggle effect to rotation. Okay, so now not only is my, and let me click on my wriggle rotation and bring this down a bit. Okay, not only am I adding the wriggle effect to the position, but I'm also adding it to the rotation, so it gives it a nice cool little rotation effect as well. Okay, that's a little too much. Okay, so I'm gonna take that to about 6 degrees, and that's coming in. Okay, that's still a little much for me, so I'm gonna take down to 3, and again, just adjust these to your liking. And so my start offset is that. I'm trying to figure out why the camera starts moving backward. Okay, so we have that, and this is on. Okay, so again, just play with your settings around, just get something that you like, and then okay, that looks a little better. All right, that's good. Okay, now we want to go ahead, and that's pretty much done. Okay, it's looking cool. Okay, now what we want to do is add some text. Okay, so go ahead and hit T on your keyboard. Go ahead and just click here somewhere in the middle. Okay, select your text down here. Mine's on cracked. I'm not sure if that's installed. That's an installed font on your machine. If it's not, just go through this, pick something you like, and just type. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put westerndcc.org. Okay, greatest website on earth. Okay, one thing I do want you to do though is grab this little orbital tool and rotate. Okay, you'll notice that in 3D space, that's where it's at. Okay, so this is gonna have to go back quite a bit. So just rotate till you're in a comfortable view. Okay, push this back till it goes through the wall so you can see as far as positioning. Pull it back some, okay, and then bring it in, okay, and then just go ahead and rotate back into here, and you're probably gonna have to readjust your view when you do that. Okay, and then so I'm zoomed out. Okay, and boom. Okay, and do make sure you are on your at the very front of your timeline when you're making that adjustment. Okay, or the camera will not respond well to what you're doing. Okay, so that's done. Looks good. Okay, problem, text way too small. Okay, so let me go back over here. I'm gonna hit shift to snap onto that keyframe. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my text. Okay, just make it bigger. Okay, and then I'm just gonna drag it to the left. Okay, I'm not really concerned what you put. You can put your production company, you can put your name, you can do whatever it is you like. Okay, I'm not really concerned about what you put here. Just make sure it's appropriate, right? Right. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, so then we have our text. Text is a little big for me, so I'm just going to do that, and then boom. Okay, maybe just bring it down a bit. Okay, so just again, just put it where you like it, and that's good. Okay, so that looks good. It's moving in on it. We got a nice little camera move. We have a nice little rotation on it. And okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and go back, and we're gonna add our last element, which is our light. Okay, object, new light. Make sure your HUD is on. Okay, and you can already tell how cool that's looking now. Make sure your HUD is on. Go ahead and choose a color scheme that you want. Okay, I'm gonna do maybe something like just like an eerie kind of yellowish red. Okay, that's fine. Okay, intensity, you may want to bring it up, and now you're starting to see how well and how more believable, okay, that vignette we added in Photoshop is making this. Okay, so it's really, really cool in that sense. Okay, so this fall off is going to give you a nice little glow. Okay, and this glow, if you wanted to, you can make it seem like there was a flickering light in here. Okay, if you keyframe this over time. Okay, so for example, we can right click this and choose oscillate. Okay, and what that oscillate's going to do is it's just going to have it flicker on and off. It's really hard to see here, but you can see in the actual full render. You know, this text, I'm going to keep mine white for the time being. It'll probably look pretty cool in white. Let me see if I can change this to a black. That might be a little... Yeah, that actually looks pretty cool. Kind of helps it pop out a little bit. So I'm just gonna, and again, once you add the light, it's having to calculate a lot more pixels and a lot more modifications to these pixels. So it's probably going to slow down quite a bit. Okay, and so this this oscillate, you can actually change the settings for here. Okay, sorry, I blinked there for a second. But so we can have it speed up quite a bit. Okay, which looks pretty cool. And this is not in real time, obviously, because again, having it, and that just might be a little too much. So I'm gonna take down the amplitude. I just want to have it like it's a flickering light coming on and off. Okay, on that oscillate. And so that's looking pretty cool. And again, you can sit here and play with this, but just kind of get it to your liking. And that's looking pretty cool. Okay, the actual black I'm not liking, so again, you just go in here, grab a color you like, and it's kind of bright, but actually looks pretty cool. Okay, I'm just gonna grab like a nice little, what if I do like a, yeah, that looks good. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna close out of that, and there we go. Okay, so overall, let me go ahead and just render this, see how it looks in real time. Your render is Command R, and it'll actually render your movie, and it'll actually play it back in real time. So this is, you can see the little preview render here, and you can kind of get a good idea of what the overall final product is going to look like. Okay, and generally for the most part, the renderings don't take that long. If it's a short, you know, 10-15 second clip like this, it doesn't take long at all. But sometimes if you get really heavy duty, it can take quite a bit. Okay, even more so than some of your Final Cut Pro renderings. So we'll just let this finish up, and then we can preview it in real time. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the gist of it. You can go ahead and add some smoke in here if you'd like to. Go into the behavior or filters and add some of the, you know, some of the built-in particle effects that are embedded inside of Motion. Okay, and I'll show you one in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to go home, and then I'm going to hit play. So I'm going to hit play, and let's see what happens. Okay, oscillates a little. The oscillating is a little faster than I'd like, but you kind of get the picture, right? And looks pretty cool. Okay. And that is about it. Okay, go ahead and you're gonna do file export. Okay, do not change any settings on this. Okay, just because we're finding that it's going to be very poor quality. So just do file export, leave the current settings as is. You're gonna do P1 or P2, whatever period you're in, last first as always, and then you're gonna do 3D wall, okay, and then you're gonna submit that into Dropbox. Please submit your work, okay. A lot of you are not submitting your stuff properly, okay, so no excuses on this one, okay. Save this, and that is about it. Looks good, okay. Questions, make sure to ask.